Hi everyone, back again for a message, and I wanted to tell you how thankful and grateful I am that you're here with me, as well as humbled and honored. This is some Santo Palo for cleansing. Now, I just did an affirmation, a short affirmation, you know what I mean? And this one came out, here, I don't need to hold the whole deck. It was, I ground myself in solutions and abundance. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, Arthur Ashe. And I really thought I was going to come on here and talk about my nosocomial infection after my last surgery and how I've had to do a lot of things in order to maintain and get back to where I was. Anyway, I got a nosocomial MRSA infection after my last thyroid surgery. I had a lot of things go wrong during that time, and I did have a PICC line with IV antibiotics for 3 months, and they removed it, and I knew it wasn't gone because I could feel it. I still have this problem, and I was unable to get help with Western medicine. And the only reason why I can walk around and do these right now is because, well, partly because my sister became an acupuncturist and got into some Chinese medicine. So I use some Chinese antibiotic herbs along with some other stuff that I have researched myself and whatnot, and some help from my other nursing friends. So the first thing, I went back into the hospital and with sepsis, and it was unknown site, and I knew what it was, but I had CTs all over my body and they still couldn't find it. But then when I go to try to talk to the surgeons and whatnot, there's no abscess. I was like, I know that. I was in the hospital with sepsis and there was still no abscess. It's not an abscess, it's a biofilm, and it's MRSA. And after I got home from sepsis, I knew that they didn't give me enough either because I can feel it. I've dealt with it so long, and I've had to take some other antibiotics for, like, I stubbed my toe and I had to take it, and it really, because it's resistant to some stuff, but it still can feel it. It kind of like reacts to it. And so from like here to here, it feels like carbonation is under my skin when something is happening in my body that it does not like. It makes me want to rip my skin off. But after I got home from sepsis, I started researching because I knew I was good. Like, I instantly, all my signs and symptoms that I have been telling the doctors about were gone, including abnormal labs returned to normal. And what I mean by abnormal labs is I went in with diabetes, and the very first night after they gave me antibiotics, I went low and never had to take insulin again. Still don't take insulin. And that happened after my surgery, after the infection. My liver enzymes were elevated and they went down. My inflammation markers, SED rates, C-reactive protein were extremely elevated and went down. But I knew it wasn't gone, so I started to dig into some research, and I found this one with this Dr. Patrick, we will call him because I don't want to butcher his name, but he's right here. And yes, I reuse paper because I don't like to waste stuff. But Dr. Patrick from University of Iowa, and the first article I found was by Jennifer Brown on June 1st of 2015. So, basically it was talking about how they're doing research in rabbits, and they have found that the endotoxins released by staph can cause or mimic diabetes. And that's the first time I knew that I was onto something. But anyway, so I did some research, and I take berberine. Sorry, I'm from the Midwest. Sometimes I make up my own words. But I take this. I found, now this research that I have done is a few years old now. So back then, they didn't really understand the mechanism of it, but they did know that berberine was able to open up the cell wall on MRSA. So that is why some of the antibiotics don't work, because they can't get through the cell wall. So I take this every day, 4 times a day. Then my awesome nurse friend was telling me about some probiotics, and I looked some stuff up along with the article that she sent me about B. subtilis and MRSA. So that significantly reduces the amount of MRSA in the nares and GI tract with people that take B. subtilis. So I take probiotic with B. subtilis in it. And this one says specifically, oh shoot, where does it say it? Well, this one I found online, and it's specifically breaks down biofilms. So I was like, that's the one I need, because, oh, biofilm disruption right here, it says. So that's why I chose that one, rather than just regular straight up B. subtilis. I started taking that for a while, and it was working just fine. I just, it was augmenting the berberine that I was also given antibiotics from my PCP, and it works that way. And then I also now take Chinese antibiotic herbs 3 times a day. But what I wanted to say is that if you don't fit inside this box or this circle, whatever, it's really hard for people to work with you. They don't have time. The amount of stuff the healthcare workers have to do, the nurses, everybody, the doctors, it's just a whole bunch of, you know, all the paperwork now and this and that. And they also are kind of, the research says this, and it takes a long time, kind of like the hands of justice, to move over. Like, I didn't learn that in med school. Well, you're right, but sometimes new information comes along, and it takes a while for them to get the dial and move it over. And then it doesn't help that I am overweight, although I wasn't this overweight my entire life. I did get significantly worse when I became basically bedbound because of how severe my infection was. A severe infection. I even had high liver enzymes, and that went away with antibiotics. So my week stay in the hospital cured my, I'm joking here because antibiotics don't cure these things. They cured mine because they were a result of the endotoxins from the MRSA. So I joke around and say antibiotics cured my diabetes, my basically fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but it was just because I had high liver enzymes, and for a while my liver was inflamed as well. So and my sed rate and my C-reactive protein, my creatinine kidney was all extremely elevated. I had major other symptoms, like I couldn't even see. Everything was blurry. I was able to work through life because like I knew on the right side of the phone it goes 369. You know, I knew the green button was to call and the red button was to end. I couldn't read that stuff. It was so blurry. I couldn't see faces. And my PCP at the time said, oh, that's just signs of aging. And, you know, the diabetes was because I was obese and not eating correctly, although that wasn't the case either. Just like, because I am a nurse, I know how to handle these things. And I was eating properly, and I was having to take so much insulin. Some days I wouldn't even eat. I started intermittent fasting and whatnot, and still my blood sugars, I could not eat for 2 or 3 days and still my blood sugars were not even in the morning. I forget what they call that when your liver releases in the morning. Shoot, I forget what that's called right now, but not even in the morning, just like all throughout the day. It was uncontrollable, even if I wasn't eating. So if I was eating, if I wasn't, like one time I even tested it because I was like, this is not even normal. I was like, let me see what happens if I eat a donut, because I hadn't eaten a donut in like 16 months or something. And my sugars actually went down when I ate the donut. I was like, yeah, now I know this is crazy. So I was telling the doctor that my numbers are uncontrollable, and he sent me a referral to the dietitian, and her suggestion was to eat, you know, a multigrain bagel with some peanut butter. And I was like, I'm basically already doing keto, and you're telling me you want me to add carbohydrates in here when my numbers are out of control with no carbs, little to no carbs, and now you're having me add in carbs. It was just not computing with the logic that I know. So the basic thing I'm trying to say here is, if you know something, research it. You can't just research stuff on the internet. You have to get peer-reviewed articles, and you can find stuff online, and you have to go switching back and forth and, you know, put stuff in. Like, when I was searching for stuff, I typed in MRSA, the link between MRSA and diabetes, and sometimes you have to do it the other way, and then the link between, I said MRSA and diabetes, so then you have to change it to diabetes and MRSA and different stuff like that. And you can't just find, it's not like news articles or whatever. You have to find peer-reviewed articles where they've actually done studies that can help you. Or just somewhere, like the articles about the GI tract and stuff were from some Asian countries, not the United States, but they were still peer-reviewed and I can't remember where berberine came from. But anyway, if I don't take this every day, I can feel it, which means it's still there. And hopefully I don't have to do this for the rest of my life, but if I do, I will. Because the amount of pain I was in before, I could barely stand up. Like I said, I couldn't see, I couldn't hear. but I just can't, I don't even have the words to describe it. But it was just painful to be alive. Painful to be alive. I couldn't sleep because of pain. I didn't want to eat because of pain. I was irritable and whatnot. But anyway, the point is don't let other people, if something's gnawing at you, go look stuff up yourself. You've got to be your own advocate. Other people might not mean to brush you off. Everybody's human. Everybody's human. They might not have time. And I'm the first person to know that, to be honest, a lot of patients are a little crazy. You know, they come in and say stuff and you're like, that's not possible. But sometimes that's why you have to research it yourself, and then you can bring in research articles and whatnot and you can show them. So I just suggest that you advocate for yourself. Don't get mad. I know it's frustrating, but it's your life and you're in charge of it. You can do this. So I just wanted to, hey, if anybody from University of Iowa wants to contact me, my email's down there. I'd be happy to come. I'd love to get one of those vaccines so that at least the endotoxins aren't causing my body haywire when you start doing, human trials. I volunteer. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to say. I hope this helps somebody, and I will answer any questions you might have. And it was great to be here with you again today. Bye.